Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm doing the anti-TBR tag. I was tagged by Courtney Ferriter over at her channel that shares her name, and I'll link her anti-TBR tag video in the description below. And the creator of the tag is Nicole over at Nicole and Her Books. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So the questions are down in the description below with timestamps. So if you don't want to watch the whole video, but there's a particular question you want to know my answer to, go ahead and click the timestamp if you'd like. So question number 1 is a popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. So for me, I think that's books that fall very firmly in the horror category. So one that I've been seeing going around BookTube a lot is I think it's called The Only Good Indian, or The Only Good Indians. That I've been told is really, really scary and really creepy. Also some Stephen King that everybody on BookTube really loves. But anything that's just really scary, I can read thrillers, no problem. Kind of like psychological tension is fine. But really scary things I just can't do. I wish I could. I think there's a lot that can be really valuable in those genres, certainly from the people I know who read those genres, but I just can't read horror. All right, a classic book or author I don't have any interest in reading. The only thing that comes to mind is Lolita by Nabokov. I think I'm getting the name right. I just don't want to read a book about pedophilia. Hard pass. Question number 3, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. So I think... Gosh, that's hard. I'm going to lump that in with question 3.2, which is a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading, because the people who are problematic authors that occurred to me for this question are ones I do want to read their books, which is why it's really, really hard. So there are a couple of these. Okay, so one author I probably will just never read, even though I actually own a few of his books that I've picked up secondhand, is Richard Dawkins, who's a prominent biologist, but he's not a nice person, and he's not with the 21st century. And so even though like his books are really famous, there's actually, well, okay, maybe you can't see them in the screen. There's actually a couple behind me up on my biology bookshelf that I haven't read yet. But he gets, I don't know the exact terminology, but he's almost like a genetic essentialist or something. So he just has a very strict interpretation of biology, and it's not one that I agree with or that is really up with like current social theory. He's just kind of a terrible person, is my understanding. And I'm sorry I'm blanking on specifics. I've watched some of his videos in the past, kind of interviews and things, and it's not good. He's also said some awful stuff on Twitter. So no Richard Dawkins for me. Thank you very much. I should unhaul the books that I have, but then it's hard thinking about how do you unhaul books of an author who you think is a terrible person, because it's not like I want other people to read his books. So that's why I've held on to them. So I don't know what's going to happen with those. We'll figure it out. Going down my list. Other problematic authors who I won't read, so J.K. Rowling, or J.K. Terfling, as Gunpowder Fiction and Plot have referred to her. I assume everybody knows by now that she has just like doubled down, continues to double down on totally transphobic comments in the public sphere. A lot of people have really invested in educating her, trying to cross that bridge, and she's just been completely unwilling to change her views and keeps like publicly digging herself in deeper, and it's just awful. So it's a shame. I actually, of course, I grew up on Harry Potter, so I like Harry Potter, so I do have my old copies that I will occasionally reread, but I'm not going to publicize that I'm doing it, and I'm certainly not going to give her any more of my money. I do like some of the adult fiction books that she's written since Harry Potter. I did buy one, The Casual Vacancy, and enjoyed it, and so, you know, if she weren't terrible, I would buy some of her other books, but she's been consistently presented with new information and refuses to change her mind. So, no thanks. And along that line is Adichie, Nigerian feminist writer, whose work I have not read, but it's been on my TBR for a long time because it's supposed to be amazing. But similarly, like Terfling, she has come out now with several public statements that are transphobic, and again, when confronted with information and when invited into a conversation, has doubled down on that. So especially with her, it's not as long of a time period as with Rowling, and so I'm really hoping that she'll kind of come around and realize she was wrong and issue an apology to the community that she's really hurt. But until she does that, there are plenty of other Nigerian feminist writers to read. So I will give my dollars to those other authors. All right, less on the like controversy train. Jonathan Franzen is an author who I will not read any more of. I read like part of one of his books, and it's just like navel-gazing white dude, like to the extreme. Navel-gazing white dude examining the lives of rich white dudes. Just like, no thanks. It's just boring. Not anything like bad necessarily. It's just very boring. And the book I read part of, I think it was called Freedom or something, is like insanely long and just didn't need to be that long. So no thank you to Franzen. Okay, so question number 4. Oh, an author you've read a couple of books from have decided their books are not for you, so Jonathan Franzen fits that category. Another one is Jeffrey Eugenides. I might be saying his last name wrong, but he wrote Middlesex, which I really loved. I thought that was fantastic. But then a year or so ago, I read The Marriage Plot, and it was kind of the same thing with Jonathan Franzen, and honestly with a lot of classics, actually. It's examining the lives of upper class or like upper middle class white people like to an insanely detailed degree. It just wasn't interesting. So unfortunately, I would like to read The Virgin Suicides by him, but I think other than that, I'm probably not going to read his other books unless other people that I really trust have like vetted them ahead of time. Nobody that I know who loves books had read The Marriage Plot, which, maybe should have told me something about that. All right, number 5, a genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. I think that would be horror, like I already mentioned. Another thing I'm not sure about is like paranormal romance. I do love a good romance, but there's like so much paranormal romance out there, and I'm kind of not sure. I mean, BookTube will help with this actually, but I'm not sure how to like find my way in. So I might, right now I don't really have an interest in it, but that might be something I try to get into, now that I've been seeing some of those books get highly reviewed on YouTube. BookTube. Okay, number 6, a book you have bought but will never read. So for me, this would be, oh, and this is also question number 7, a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and have DNF'd. So that would be Terry Goodkind is the author, and his Sword of Truth series fit both 6 and 7. At one point, I'd like bought the entire series, and I think I bought them all new, and there's like 10 books or something, because a previous boyfriend of mine had been really into it and like swore up and down that I would love it. And I did like the first book, and so I bought all the rest, and then the series is crap. So don't read that series. So first of all, it's just terrible writing. Like it's bad writing. It's bad writing. It's bad character development. At one point in one of the books, the main plot, if I remember correctly, is that there's like a chicken that's possessed by a demon or something. And so it's an evil chicken like running around a village, like giving everybody the evil eye, and nobody just like chops its head off. And it's like a 600-page book or whatever. Like, don't read that series. It's so bad. Since DNFing it, I DNF'd it a few years ago and totally unhauled it. And since then, I've been made aware that Goodkind is actually a very problematic author and has, he really punches down newer and less established authors. He refuses to acknowledge the like influences of other authors in his own work. He's just not a great person. You can look up some of his interviews. It's not fun. So yeah, nope. Very glad I DNF'd those. One more series that counts for the books that I bought and then unhauled, or and a series that I DNF'd is Sarah Douglas's Wayfarer Redemption series. And like with the Goodkind series, that's one where I genuinely liked the first book and liked it enough that I went ahead and bought all 6. And then it just got truly awful, like horrible. And it's a cool world. I liked some of the different peoples and cultures that she kind of set up. But yeah, the writing of the main characters went downhill quickly. And then some of the things that like happened to the characters that were like extremely key to the plot, where there was just like no reason for them. Like the moving the plot forward and creating the necessary tension and things could have happened without like insanely bloody violence, or without a child getting kidnapped. And so it's and that's one of the things. I don't think that counts as grimdark fantasy quite, but I don't know, I don't think it counts as grimdark fantasy. I think it might have been published before grimdark fantasy was really developing as a subgenre. But that's also one of my bigger gripes with grimdark fantasy in general, is I can really appreciate it. Like, I love George R.R. Martin, and he's the biggest grimdark fantasy guy there is. But the it's like a fine line, because in a way the violence and the bad stuff is supposed to be gratuitous. It's kind of highlighting that is part of humanity. Like, bad stuff happens in the world all the time. And it happens to regular people. It happens to good people, not just bad people. And so I appreciate that, but there's still, like, there's a way to do it gratuitously in a way that feels meaningful, if that makes sense. And then there's a way to do it gratuitously in a way that is just like, we're just like, what? Like, that it's not meaningful at all. It's just bad writing. So Sarah Douglas Wayfarer Redemption, in my opinion, falls into that latter category. And then number 8, a new release I have no interest in reading. I should have looked at these questions ahead of time, but I still probably wouldn't have an answer for that one, because I don't pay a ton of attention to new releases. Occasionally I'll see something on YouTube, or I'll see something from like a listserv, or like the blogess Jenny Lawson, if I'm remembering her last name correctly. I often get new release ideas from her blog, but in general I don't really pay attention to those. The only ones I kind of notice are ones that grab my attention as something that I would really like. So so I don't have an answer for number 8. Great. So that was my anti-TBR tag. So I hope that was fun. It's a bit judgy. I think that's the point. So I got it off my chest. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically, but if you're watching my channel and you've done it, or you're planning to do it, I would love to see your video and kind of get your tea on books that you don't want to read. It's very gossipy, and the nosy part of me really enjoys it. So please leave a comment if you've made one of these videos and I should check it out, or if you're going to make one, so I know to look for it. And with that, thanks for watching my channel. If you liked this tag video, please do hit the subscribe button, maybe give a like to the video, and let me know that you watched. I'd love to interact with some new channels on BookTube. So thanks for sticking around, and I will see you all in the next video.